Two black twins walk into a bar for a quiet evening, but within minutes, two cops storm in, pointing fingers and demanding answers. What no one in that room knew was shocking. These weren't just ordinary men. One was a captain, the other, a commander of the Navy SEALs. And what happened next would silence the entire bar and leave everyone questioning what true respect really means. This is hbvibes, your home for shocking and emotional war stories. Hit like, smash that subscribe, and let's dive into the drama. The story opens inside a lively city bar on a Friday evening. Music hums softly, glasses clink, and laughter fills the room. At the far end of the counter, two identical twins sit side by side. Their presence is magnetic, tall, broad-shouldered, and confident in their quiet demeanor. Dressed in simple white t-shirts and black trousers, they don't seem to be showing off, but anyone looking closer would sense a kind of disciplined aura surrounding them. The twins, Marcus and Malik, were well known to those who truly understood the city's fabric. But to the average bystander, they were just two strong-looking men enjoying a drink. Marcus was a Navy SEAL commander, while Malik was a captain in the army, both decorated for their courage but both preferring to live in humility when not in uniform. Tonight, they just wanted peace, a night off from responsibility. The bar, however, had its share of regulars who were less welcoming. A few murmurs spread, suspicious eyes followed the twins. And then, as fate would have it, two uniformed officers walked in, Sergeant Davis and Officer Collins. Both had reputations for being loud, quick-tempered, and proud of their authority. From across the room, Davis's eyes fixed on the twins. Something about their calm, unbothered stance irked him. He nudged Collins. Those two look like trouble. Let's see what they're up to. The storm was about to begin. The officers approached the bar counter with heavy steps. The crowd fell silent, sensing tension. Davis leaned in, pointing sharply at the twins. You two think you can just stand here like you own the place? Davis barked, his finger stabbing the air. Marcus and Malik exchanged a quick glance, unbothered but alert. Marcus kept his arms folded. Malik simply raised an eyebrow. They didn't respond immediately, which only fueled Davis's anger. Answer me when I'm talking to you, Davis shouted, drawing the attention of everyone around. Collins joined in, his voice loud and sharp. You boys causing trouble here. The bartender, nervous, tried to intervene. Officers, they've done nothing. Just stay out of this, Davis snapped, silencing the bartender. The twins remained calm, their composure standing in stark contrast to the officer's aggression. Malik finally spoke, his voice even and respectful. We're just here for a drink, sir. That's all. But Davis wasn't satisfied. His ego demanded submission. He stepped closer, finger almost grazing Malik's chest. Don't talk back to me. I know your type. The room held its breath. Nobody knew who these men truly were. That beneath those plain shirts stood a captain and a commander, men who had risked their lives countless times to protect the very freedom Davis was abusing. As the officers raised their voices, the bar's atmosphere shifted. Some patrons looked away, uncomfortable. Others watched closely, sensing something extraordinary was unfolding. Marcus, the older twin by just minutes, finally spoke. Officer, we don't want any trouble. Respect goes both ways. His words, calm yet firm, only made Davis bristle more. Respect, you don't lecture me on respect. His voice echoed across the bar, drowning out the music. Collins leaned in, smirking. Maybe we should take them outside, teach them how to behave. Gasps spread through the crowd. The tension was unbearable, like a storm cloud pressing down on the room. The twins stood silently, arms still folded. Their silence wasn't weakness, it was discipline. Years of training taught them patience, the ability to wait for the right moment. A young woman in the crowd whispered, "Why aren't they defending themselves?" Another man replied quietly, "They don't need to. Look at how calm they are." The officers mistook this silence for fear. They didn't know that silence was a weapon, sharper than any blade, heavier than any fist. The longer the confrontation dragged, the more the officer's authority looked shaky. People began murmuring, their sympathy shifting toward the twins. One elderly man at a nearby table spoke of, "Officers, these gentlemen haven't done a thing. Leave them be." Davis turned and snapped, "You want trouble too?" His anger made his voice tremble. He turned back to the twins. "Show me some ID, now." Marcus calmly reached into his wallet. The crowd leaned forward, expecting a driver's license. But when he handed the card over, Davis's eyes narrowed, confused. The badge on the ID wasn't ordinary. It bore the insignia of the United States Army, Captain Malik Carter. Collins scoffed. A fake. Has to be. Malik then slid his own ID across the bar. Davis picked it up, and his face froze. The card gleamed with the seal of the United States Navy, Commander Marcus Carter. The crowd erupted into whispers. Captain, Commander, the bar that had once been silent was now alive with shock. Davis's finger dropped, his voice faltered. For the first time, he realized the enormity of his mistake. You're military, he stammered. Marcus's voice was steady. More than that, we've spent our lives protecting this country. And tonight, all we wanted was peace. Malik added softly, we respect the badge you wear. We've stood side by side with officers braver than most. But respect is earned, not demanded. The words hit harder than any shout. Davis looked at the ids again, then at the twins, his face pale. Collins, who had been full of arrogance moments ago, suddenly seemed much smaller. The crowd clapped quietly, not out of mockery but admiration. The truth had been revealed. These weren't just two men in white t-shirts. They were heroes, carrying ranks that commanded respect far above the arrogance of two officers in a bar. Silence hung heavy. Davis lowered his hand, unsure of what to say. His authority had crumbled in front of everyone. Marcus stepped closer, his tone still calm but powerful. Authority isn't about shouting, it's about responsibility. Every time we wear a uniform, people trust us. Tonight, you forgot that. Malik's eyes softened as he looked at the crowd. Nobody wins when pride speaks louder than justice. The room remained still. For once, the officers didn't have an answer. The bartender finally broke the silence, sliding 2 glasses of water toward the twins. On the house, gentlemen, thank you for your service. The crowd nodded in agreement. A few even saluted quietly. Davis and Collins exchanged glances, humiliation clear on their faces. They turned, muttering excuses as they left the bar, shadows of the authority they once flaunted. As the door closed behind the officers, the tension melted into relief. The crowd exhaled, some breaking into applause. Marcus and Malik remained composed, sipping their water with quiet dignity. The young woman who had whispered earlier approached. Why didn't you fight back? You could have. Marcus smiled gently. Because fighting isn't always with fists. Sometimes the strongest stand is silence, until the truth speaks for itself. Malik added, respect is the foundation of every uniform. Without it, authority is just noise. The bartender, visibly emotional, said, I'll never forget this night. You showed us what real strength looks like. The twins exchanged a look, unspoken understanding passing between them. They didn't come here to be recognized. They came for peace, but if their presence had left a lesson, then perhaps the evening wasn't wasted. As they stepped outside into the night air, the city lights reflected off the pavement. Marcus spoke softly, strange how battles find us, even off the field. Malik chuckled, at least this one ended without scars. The camera of imagination pulls back, showing the twins walking side by side, their silhouettes strong, unshaken. Heroes not because of their ranks, but because of their humility. The bar behind them would forever carry the story, how 2 black twins were threatened by cops in a bar, not knowing one was a captain and the other a commander of the SEALs, and how that night, true respect was revealed. If you felt the heartbeat of this story, give it a like, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to HB Vibes, where every story carries a lesson for the soul.